And good morning, everyone. How's it going? All right. Whoa. Hey, y'all. How's it going? Morning, Cap hasn't. Turbo Dave. Gonna resize things on my side. They've gotten out of cowboy. Oh, that. Yes. Well, hello. Top hat. That's a top hat, by the way. Not a cowboy hat. Good morning. You know, I decided with COVID and all that, due to plague, it's like I had time to try out the stash. So I got me some handy dandy death grip mustache wax and just went with it. Like it's to the point now where I can actually get my mustache into my eye. So, yeah. And braid them together. Oh my goodness. You can eat your beard for lunch? Nice. Nice. Yeah, I told my old boss that I was growing it out. I worked with my old boss for like 8-9 years. Every time you blink a smile. That was funny. So I worked with my old boss for like 8-9 years and I had butt dialed him. Ended up spending a while on the phone, just catching up, and I said, hey, I'm growing a mustache out. My boss says, what was it? I told them that I was growing a mustache out, and them being 10 years older than me, said, so am I. She's great. She's great. All right. Sneaky stream. Creepy. Oh man. No, El Boss is fantastic. Like if there's anything that I look for when looking for a job, it's a great boss. And that's hard to find. It's seriously hard to find. Because to say it in a very PG sort of way, a boss is either a doo-doo umbrella that shields its reports from their reports from all of the doo-doo that's falling from above, or it's a doo-doo funnel. So what sort of boss do you want? Do you want that doo-doo umbrella boss or the doo-doo funnel boss? As you can imagine, the funnel's just passing it through. All right, so now I have a drawing. I do like to draw. I'm not very good at drawing, but I do like to draw. And to do a really poor rendition of this other sort of concept art that I had. Now, remember, very poor rendition. So I have this, not lines, I want kind of curves. So I have this drawing, which is this island, right? And this island has like this little, like it's been torn away from the base planet, right? Kind of, it's an island. And then it's like, hey, you know what? Let's also take away some of the edge stuff or whatever. And we'll just cut out other sorts of like chunks of island, and then we would have other sorts of floating islands up here, you know, and it looks much better in the concept art, even though I'm a terrible drawer. And then we would have some sort of like rope bridge going between these, something like this with little rope bridge or whatever, so you could get from one place to the other. And there might be like a dock over here, so you could like dock your boat. And then, you know, you'd have some sort of boat, which of course looks like this. Here's a boat. And here you are with a hat. All right. So you'd sail in, you'd have this and so on. Now, I haven't been super impressed with the noise so far, right? Getting the noise and tracing these elements has produced islands that are sufficient, right? And I could do that. But having played with Leon a little bit, that crate, I think that it would be I would like to try with the Bezier curves or the quadratics. Oops, didn't mean to delete that. So we're going to try that. So instead of generating an island that is similar to this, we're going to generate an island that is like this. Oh, now in brown. Never skip quad. That's right. That's right. And so instead of them being fragments of each other, I'm thinking that they would simply be islands that were chained together with some chains. Those are chains, right? And that they could actually kind of float around a little bit. They would have a little bit of motion. In Godot, we would make them so they could kind of move and wiggle, whatever it is, because they're floating in the sky relative to kind of their base island. Never skip quad. So we would have these islands, yada yada. All right. There. Islands. So instead of them being chunks of each other, they would still probably have some sort of bridge next to the chain. That's not a very good bridge color. Here, there's a bridge. And then we'd have some of the rope bridge over there next to the chain. But these islands would instead be made of quads that are set up in some fashion. So we're going to try that. Just, take a handful of quads and button them together. Make a shape. And I think the Leon can actually do this. Well, it can do some pieces that we want. Where's the docks? Docks. Is in their path crate. We click on that and open up the paths. Oh, it's taking its sweet time. I'm going to plug my phone in because I forgot to do a couple things today. There we go. So yeah, we can do all sorts of little bits. So the builder, you can have move to, line to, etc. And you can have quadratic vitiate to, and give it 2 points, which is fantastic. So we're going to try that, which also means that this might get quite a bit more simple, as basically a lot of the noise stuff, the scanning, all that stuff, might just get retired out. See, I think that Leon could also do the bridges. So we're not going to generate an island grid. I'm not going to do that. And I did commit this, didn't I? Get status. Yeah. None of those. You know what? I should probably do it this way. How far are we going to go down? Island of polygons. Desolate island. Well, let's come down to here. Now this takes a bunch of shapes. You know what? I'm gonna keep going. Alright, so we gotta return triangles. We could put this in a function, or we could just do this right here. Quadratic islands. Now, you know what? Let's just toss that there, put that at the end. Then we don't have to worry about small islands. Like all this other stuff just kind of goes away, some of that stuff. That's just going to be... Okay, so we'll still have to return zones, so the client doesn't freak out. Which should be fine, because we should have triangles at that point. Alright, we still need to have some sort of random noise. I guess not noise, but we need to have some randomness. I guess how... So quadratic curves. I was hoping to see a visual on this, like a little visual aid. Conic sections, yes, yes, yes. Oh, we can search for images. I guess it's technically not defined by 2 points, so it would be defined by more. Hey, my marmalade. How are ya? Desolate Island. What's that graph? Oh, from just a moment ago. Just a moment, please. It's going to be a vector of points. So I think in this case, oh, explain again. So we're going to be drawing islands, okay? And what we're going to do, sorry, let's zoom to the appropriate level, is instead of islands like this, which we had been going for in the past, we're going to generate islands like so. But that also means that we need to define some points more or less randomly that end up describing the shape of the island. Okay, so we'll do something similar to that ends up creating a shape for the island. It's not going to be perfect, it's going to be random, which could be perfect depending on how you... Perfect is just defined by your acceptance criteria. So in this case, oh, yep. So yeah, we're going to be creating a path built up of a number of shapes, a number of curves, and then we will tessellate that using the Lyon crate. All right. So we need some of this code here. We're going to prototype, so it's going to be a little messy. So I want to see how well it would work first. So we're going to do one of these for each of the zones. And right now, we're only going to have one zone. So we'll return this sort of geometry. And that'll have to be what? It's a vector of meshes, and that is vertex buffers. Okay. Let mutable zones. That's just going to be some vector, and then we will push a path into it. What is it? Path : builder? There we go. And And then eventually we do a zones dot push. I think we actually need a vector of vectors, because we might have more than one zone. Oh, you were expecting my daughter's dragon drawing, yes. Morning, JT. Yeah, there was a little bit of, I was in CM Griffing's channel yesterday a little bit, and facial hair came up as a topic. I shared a picture that I'd taken earlier in the day. So we'll end up pushing zone. Oh wait, path. We haven't done the shape yet, so we'll add the quad to the path in just a minute. Oh, that needs to be mutable. All right. Yeah, very, very early on in the stream, I actually had a camera. I just decided that I wasn't all that interesting. So now we just look at the code. What do they say? You've got a face for radio? I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Let's see if we can get this wired up. So those look good. Then we have zones here. And this is going to be geometry, geometry. Should be a vector of those. Did I not map that? Oh, I was collecting these before. That needs to be in there. That's right. This was different. So I'll map that. Now inside of there we want those lines. Mismatch types, expected vector vertex buffers on map. I didn't collect. All right. Now in this case here, we need to create some sort of shape, because that should have given us some just emptiness, right? No island at all. So we want to move to some place. Let's say, oh, we have to do these in 0.2Ds. 0.0, 10.0. So we'll start here, and whatever the radius of the island should be. Now we have to give it 2 points with a control point and the 2 point. Alright, so we're going to leave the first one empty for a moment. The 2 point is going to be basically on the, well, here, let's just do it. It's 10.0, 0. That's a 10.0. Now we have to get the control point kind of where we want it. I'm going to put the control point to visually draw this out. Let's say we went here first and imagine some sort of graph. So our first point, let's change its color, what's up there. So our next point. Then we're going to have some sort of control point. We're going to put the control point up here. And then we'll follow that around. Set another point down here with another control point. And we should just be able to get some sort of round shape. And then after we've created something by hand that works, then we'll start to add some randomness to it. So that each island is a little different than the previous. Probably by changing where its origin is, etc., etc. So this is going to be 10.0, and let's give it a control point of, let's say, 2 up. All right. Then I think we have to go, do we have to go back to the beginning? So I'm a little curious, because this start point is not, it's not quadratic. So we'll have to see what that looks like. It might have a sharp edge at the beginning. Yeah, because this control point is probably the control point for these other two, right? Because you have your starting point, your end point, your control point. So that might need to be, yeah, our control points we'll have to play with. All right, so there's that. Let's get these. So we're gonna flip the comma on this one. This is top. This is right. I don't think we're going to need that one. Yeah, we'll see. We'll leave that in there. So we flipped the comma on the bottom, but we didn't change the sign. Now on the left one, it's just -10. Okay. Now this quadratic Bezier too. These control points we also need to adjust. Flip the comma. Negative 10, 2, so it'll be on the right side of it. Now this one is negative 10, negative 2. Oh, now it goes and decides to line up those comments. There we go. Okay, and then we have it closed. This is probably going to take a lot less to actually compute, even though it'll take a little bit more to scan the curves. We're not generating a field. We're not scanning through it twice. We're not, well, twice to actually collect the edges and then to get the shapes. I think we're skipping a number of steps. So we're trading something that might be costly with something that is a lot less costly. Right, start up a Godot. Oh, black screen. Hold on a sec. Let me fix that. Okay. Back to Godot. FaceTime stream. Not today. Then my frame rate isn't all that high, right? I stream at 10 frames a second. So I think it actually, the stream benefits from me not having a lot of motion. Oh, look at that. It actually made something. Let's move that island. When it's not too bad. Perspective, let's change it. I want to see the wireframe on this. There's too many gizmos. All right. So we want more curviness. So we're going to make this a little easier to iterate through. What can we see over here? We can see that there's a touch of a curve. You can see some of these points in here. All right, we've got that couple subdivisions in there. I'm surprised that, well, I guess that's a triangle, so it works. It's a decent tessellation. It'll make the islands really easy to pathfind through. Because for the pathfinding, I'm going to take the triangles, combine them into convex polygons, and build the pathfinding on basically A star plus convex polys. Okay. So something that did happen up here. Where is it? I thought there was. Is it the fill options? Or was it the path? something in here basically has the ability to control how smooth the output is. It's either like the fill options, the fill tesslator itself, I'm not seeing it there. Could be the path builder. Let's check the docs. Because we should be able to get smoother curves already. Does not handle any kind of curve. All right, path builder trait. Tolerance, there it is. Maximum distance between the curve and its approximation. They're probably using F32s there. Tolerance. We'll have the control offset. I'm just going to leave the points at 10. All right, now we need to set. Okay, we import the trait, good. That's there. What about this one? One more trait to pull in. Now I'm going to just give this here some values, and I think elsewhere. Oh, let's try it. Oh, generate island. It already has all this junk on it. You know what? Let's leave that one alone and just export this as well. There we go. Then we can use this somewhere else. That's going to be inside the Godot code. So instead of generate island, All right, now we want two arguments. The first one was how smooth we want it. And the second one was how far off the control points were. Let's say 5.0. Oh, wait. I was going to make these parameters here, so we could play around with them, see how it works. What did they call that? Tolerance and offset. Okay, now we have a generate function. Okay, tolerance to the control offset. Now we can go into kind of the GD script code, set that up. Did we figure out how to call those methods? Yeah, we end up calling ready on it here. Does generate exist? Looks like it. This one should be the same as the previous one. Oops, where's the other one? Yeah, they're identical at the moment. Okay, so we can call generate, which means that we can call generate with, say, a tolerance and some other stuff. We'll have those. We will also export those. So now we have these values here, and we should be able to build this. So let's get rid of ready. Now we're going to just call generate ourselves. So that could be interesting. We could have, let's say, higher end devices with more vertices, and lower end devices with fewer, just by adjusting the tolerance. That could be cool. Delete those nodes. Let's make sure it built. Okay, that built, good. All right, now to try out our new toy. neat. We can see that these are definitely more rounded. If we were to take off the wireframe and just use something like overdraw, it looks pretty curved. All right, let's move that one. But you can see that last little edge too is very, very clipped. Like we're not going back to the start. It's clipped off. Let's reduce that even more. Create a new one. Ooh, wow, look at that. I think one of those pieces that I finding interesting here is how the control point's actually affecting the mesh. So if we look at this, we're starting at this east point. Let's move this out of the way. So if we look at this a little bit closer, you'll see on the east side there, on the right side, is where we started. And then we curved down to this other one at the bottom, with the control point being where? Control point would have been close to the south end of that, or the bottom of the screen there. Quadratic Bezier too. And maybe I got this backwards? No, the 2 is definitely where it's gone to. But the control point, like in the first case, here we have 10, which would have been all the way to the bottom, with a little bit to the right then. So that control point is, I think it was 2 in, so it wasn't far in. Interesting. So in this case, for the cubic, we end up having 2 control points. I don't think... Control 1, Control 2. It's funny when I think about these curves, I imagine how they react in vector drawing apps. Because it does seem like for these control points, we probably want something that's, we take a line between them and so far off, curve it. What if we did, okay. So this one looks really, really smooth. We did a control point of 10. And I think we do need this to come back. And what happens if we do another one? So the first one I think was with the defaults. This one, I want to remove control offset. Set it to 0. Yeah. Nice. A little bit of a progression there. I'm a little surprised at how close they are. Like, why? So if these are just like the regular points, simple triangle, straight through. But why are these other ones actually larger? Like this one is just bigger than that one. That's surprising. Oh, we raised them up and moved that one away. I see. There. That makes more sense. Now they're all the same size. All right, let's start to do some randomness with this. Now the control point also doesn't have to go like perpendicular. We can make those random as well. We'll probably have to add some logic to make the islands not seem too jacketed. But I think it'd be fine. As long as there's curves, I'm gonna be okay with it. And this should scale up pretty well. Because if you have something like this, you just make it larger, it's fine. All right, enough with scaling. Now, how do we want to do this? Zoom out a little bit, clean up the mess. So what I'm considering is, like, if this was origin, we would come up here to some starting point, some distance or whatever from the base. And then we would choose, you know, an angle, something in kind of this direction. Then choose a point in there, kind of curve to that. This thing, same thing. And we just keep working around. Oops. We'll work around it. It's either we do that or we have a set of points. Maybe we have 12. What if we had just 12 clock face points, right? If I could get the, imagine that they are correctly spaced. So we had something like this, and then their distance to the center was randomly in or out. And then we might even randomly choose to remove some. Perfect spacing. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go with something more like this. I think that would work just fine. And then our control points would be somewhere in between them. So we'd have those, and we would have our control points. The control points would be somewhere within this range to give it some sort of curviness. All right. Ooh, we get to do math today. I don't know if I'm up for doing math this early in the morning. I haven't even had coffee yet. Where's Euclid? Euclid. Euclid B. How about just Euclid? Thank you. Oh, what's this projected vector? That's neat. 2 point. Oh, and the traits. Okay, so they do a vector here. So we can add a vector to a point. So we have 0.00. We add a vector. That's fine. See, they have rotate for these other elements. Ooh, a transform 2D. What's that? Ah, okay. Or we could just do the math. Wow, I need to look more through this crit. They've got so much stuff in here. Then rotate, then scale to array, and translate. That's so much. Alright, but what can we do with one of those? Can we use those with 0.2Ds? Miracle of sound. To array, transform point. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, let's play with that. So for 0 to 12, we'll map those. Do we even need those? We do for the rotation. So given the hour, we'll collect that into something. I don't know what we're collecting it into yet. So that'll be a vector of points. There we go. So at this point we will get a transform 2D. New one of you. And these are radians, right? So it's basically going to be the hour divided by... Oh, no. Drat. We should start at 3 o'clock. That'll make it easier. Also, before we ended up having to adjust our triangles. I wonder if we should be going counterclockwise for this. So basically all we want to know is from 0 in radians, we're going to go counterclockwise around the clock phase. So if 0 is off to the right there, at 3 o'clock, then it's going to be 1/6 of a radian. It's a rotation. 1.0 divided by 6.0 times hour as F32. What is it talking about? Where? Oh, mismatch types here. Yeah. We'll get there. Alright, so we transform, we do a rotation on there. We also want to, maybe before this, I guess where do we rotate and transform from? Is it origin? So if we did have a transform point going, and we give it a point, let's say it's point 2D, I don't know, let's create a point. So we're going to transform that. That should return what? Hey, Final Spartan, good morning. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, we've got our our sub icons. They're lifetimes. We're borrowing in lifetimes. It took way too long to make those two. I tried to do the first ones by hand. It didn't work out so well. Drawing an ampersand is incredibly hard to do in pixel art. That's just, it's not something that you do. Our point is going to just be a point 2D. Oh, you know what? We'll just do this. We'll say it's at 10.0. It should be something else, but we'll say it's y.into. Should be able to figure out the type there. It's still complaining about the return type. This transform point, I thought, returned a point 2D. Yeah, yeah. My first attempt was using a sprite, and then I ended up using Krita, and that worked out okay. Why is it still complaining about the... Oh, because the dot is... I forgot the parentheses around the range. That's why. Now the map is operating on the range and not the 12. Expected 6 arguments. Found 0. Should we use the identity matrix here? Can we rotate that? No method to rotate found for... Oh, I thought we had a rotate here. Oh, pre-rotate and then rotate. Got it. Sure. Let's take a look at their angle type. Wow. What is frac by 2? Is that... odd? Okay. Where T is float constant, is that off of num traits? Oh look, they got frac by 6. Oh wait. I don't think we need that though, because we're just going to deal in radians. Oh, which one is that on? So that's on this transform on this point. Ah. Point 2D. F32. This will be unknown unit new. Oh, interesting, that returns self, so we can build that up. So we're going to do this where I want to see this a little bit in, no. So then we have our points. We're going to debug the points. And let's give this a call. Yeah, we're going to be able to get rid of a number of tests. Tolerance. No tolerance. We have no tolerance. Yes, we shared the dot files. And good morning. Lanop 24. How are you doing? Oh yeah, you're welcome. 12:30 there. Oh wow. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm doing well. Doing well. Just playing around with some island generation. You didn't see earlier. We are working on generating and tessellating elements inside of Godot. So we're going to have procedurally generated islands. The last set actually was a little bit further than this, but I wanted a little bit smoother shapes. So we're going to try it with curves instead of just noise that we're tracing. All right, and just heads up, I'm going to take my 15-minute break here in about a minute. Just can't notice that coffee's almost ready. How do I like Rust? I really like it. I think it's a fantastic language. Oh, look at that. That worked out really well. Mostly well. The first 6 should be positive, the second 6 should be negative. Is it friendly for beginners? It took me about a year to get to this point where I am. I've put in over like 1,100 hours in Rust. I think that it is so much better than what it had been. The amount of documentation that's there, Rust has fantastic docs. Being able to do things like, check this out, Rust up, doc. Right? And this opens the Rust documentation on your local machine, so you don't even have to Google for things. Right? Here's the book, which is available for free. Rust by example, they've got Rust links, little courses, and they keep improving on all of this stuff. If you've never programmed in anything, I actually think it would be. I I think there's plenty of videos out there nowadays that start to explain some things, and because there's like Stack Overflow to kind of help support some of this stuff, I think that Rust actually would help new coders not develop bad habits, right? Because Rust is going to force you to think about what object owns what, right? Ownership and lifetimes and stuff like that. If I had started with Rust, I would have been a better programmer. When I started with like C, and there's I'd say I'm a decent C programmer, right? But I think I'm decent because I'm like super cautious in C. So I think I could port C to Rust pretty well. But all of this Rust stuff here, and then you can search the standard library. Oh, I've got actually this dark reader on, which is why it's kind of like that. There. This is what it's meant to look like. And then you can search the documentation locally. So if I wanted to see like a smart pointer from like C++, it would be an arc, atomic ref counted pointer, etc. He's around 38 and never really coded. He wants to get into it. Yeah. Treat learning a programming language as if you were learning a spoken language. Do little bits every day, and you get better. Right? Find a community where there's help and where people are willing to help you out. Right? Like we've got our little Discord. We've got people in there that are learning Rust. There's also the standard Rust programming language one, etc. And those are available. There's people all over with Rust. There's also exorcism.io. This is a great one for this. But they've got a Rust course. Yeah. Yeah. Some of my kids like wanting to play a video game and be good at it. Like I played Tetris 20 years ago. I schooled them last night. I was like, Dad, you're so good at Tetris. How'd you get so good at Tetris? Yeah, it's all the hours and hours and hours I put in when I was like tiny. Oh, you work professionally in Elixir? Oh, it'd be a great addition. Yeah. Yeah, what? Especially because you can write nifs in Rust for Elixir. And so if you need something to be fast, like all of this Rust ecosystem could be available via, Erlang nifs. But I gotta grab that coffee. I got a second reminder. By the way, I'm also a big Elixir and Erlang fan. I love Erlang. So I gotta get my watch set up for my little countdown. All right, 15-minute countdown. I think Erlang is great. Erlang is great production language just because of the way it does like micro garbage collections and all that. I mean, as far as like garbage collected languages go, Erlang I think is top notch. Anyhow, we'll see in 50.
me out of me. My love for you has brought me out of me. My love for you has brought me out of me. My love for you, 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 my 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 has brought me out of me. My love for you has brought me out of me. My love for you has brought me out of me. My love for you has brought me out of me. My love for you has brought me out of me. My love for you has brought me out of me. My love for you has brought me out of me. My love for you has brought me out of me. My love for you, 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 my 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 yeah.
All right, let's get the chair back in place. And we're back. Oh, holy cow, Brooke, you raided me while I was oh, just after I went on break. Okay. Well, if you're all still there, welcome raiders. We're working on a project called Legacy, and we're working on island generation at the moment. So we're creating points in kind of a clockwise fashion. Why didn't this work? I thought... Why wouldn't this work? So we have 0. 0 actually starts out just fine. When we look at the endpoint, x is -2, y is 9. So it's just off the top center. So it's like up here somewhere. Hey, Brooke, thank you for the raid. I appreciate that. We should come up with a little app that does like a wheel of raiding, so we can like easily find people to raid. Uses the Twitch API to scan for Rust coders. Oh, that CM Griffing's doing that presentation today. I wanted to watch that. I don't remember where that was going to be. So, let's see. All right. Yeah, it'd be like a little Wheel of Fortune, you know, Wheel of Rating. Oh man, finally got some coffee. And now we can work on the math. So we have this point. We're trying to do a rotation here. I want 1/6 radian times the hour. So the hour's going to go to 11. Like a web ring. Oh wow, remember that? Forever ago? Whoa. Whoa. That's... Wow, my gray hairs remember those. Alright. So what's going wrong here? It looks like the rotation is likely wrong. Let's run that again. That looks good. Okay, let's do the is it plugged in checks. What is a radian? All right, 1 radian is just under. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm doing this wrong. (360° is the same as 2 pi r. Oh, okay. I wasn't multiplying by pi. So we do need the num type there. So ideally this isn't like that. It's hour as that times f32 colon. What was it? A fractional pi thing? Oh, not that one. Where's our num trades? Frac pi 8. That's what we want. No. 6. Fractional pi 6. Don't we have that in here? What is it? Use num trades. Float const. Oh, Cosmos doesn't have num trades. Oh, okay, let's add it. Cargo add num trades. I thought float const had that. So float const, here it is, float const frac pi. And it's implemented on F32. So F32s should have this. There we go. The standard F32. Let's see. All right, now let's check it again. Oh, we can't add that twice. Let's do the test. And then once we have this, then we'll kind of jitter them. We'll have the distance out be a little bit different. Okay, that rotation looks more accurate. We have 10. First 3 are positive on both. Second 3 are negative in X only. Next 3 both negative, fantastic. And the final 3 negative in the Y. Okay, that is correct. Yeah, let's remove those debugs. Now we also want to jitter how far out these are. So we want a random number between, I don't know, like whatever the size of the island is. So we'll have a radius min and max, and we will use probably something like fastrand. Let's see. Does fastrand do ranges, or do I have to do that? Between 0 and 1. I see. It's so nice when there are the ones that'll give you the, let you do the range. Oh, range bounds. Perfect. I mean, it's so simple to do, but it does make a difference. Where's our F-16? Oh, I passed it. Interesting, they do the range bounds for the integers, but not for the floats, which makes sense, because what's... Okay. Because right now we're using RAND, aren't we? Let's do a cargo what feature on fast RAND. It's probably not going to have anything. Okay. Gonna get rid of RAND. That might cause issues though.
Always wanted this kind of outro. Wishing I could go back and tell everything I now know to a younger me. Looking up at 23, filled up with anxiety to overcome what's underneath and let them know we onto something.
Yeah, a lot of these tests, if we do this, are going away.
It's like you're paralyzed, can't move cause you're terrified. Mind inside a paradigm where you don't even dare to try. So you just lay at night, wide awake with grandeurs of a way of life where everything.
So sadly, I think we need to delete some of these tests.
Kinda like your place to hide.
And debug tiles. Oh goodness, that goes away.
Make 100K out of school. The music still be working at it with your far from perfect habits. I wish that I could tell you that everything will be fine. But I'm not really sure I'm qualified to, because I thought I'd know what to say by now. And honestly, I thought I'd be
alright.
by now.
Draw points. I'm gonna keep.
Sit alone and ruin my day just for something to do. And it's
Actually, we don't need that anymore. That's built into shape.
I got a mixture of excuses and a list of resolutions, and feel guilty doing anything unless I've been productive. But time doesn't wait, so I'm just missing moments.
Not doing that. Don't have to do those anymore. Because those have to do with how we were scanning them before. Points to shape, same thing.
Either pay attention or feel this pain again. And honestly, I'm terrified that I'ma die and be forgotten quickly.
Okay.
I go out, I don't know if there's a lot who'd miss me. Hopefully,
oh, I like deleting code.
So at least I'll have a body beside mine to be rotting with me. My mind has been making all these obstacles. Some days I wake up and feel like I'm unstoppable. And then the next day it feel like
just gone. Alright.
But there's nowhere else I wanna go. And last night I finally hit my limit. Liquor in my system, but never had clearer vision. Punching walls and throwing keys, glass shards and broken screens. I couldn't keep blaming life for problems, cause I know it's me. The root of all these issues is the lack of all my actions. Tired of feeling like I'm not committed to my passions. And as the tears flow, I had a moment of clarity.
Okay. So we're gonna say that the range is between, and we'll do ins for this. It'll be okay. Say it's between 10 and 20.
Once you can axe the distractions, but right now nobody's nearing ya, and doing nothing is your mode and your median. You wanna flounder, you should go to aquariums. The block is mine like I'm owning Ethereum. I know you can hear me, but it's slow and I'm fearing you.
Actually, let's do like a U16 on this.
An Old Testament, back to times when Noah will pair him up. So please, just for a minute, put a hold on the snare and drums. Give me a moment to
the distance is going to be equal to
fair enough. Just let me know now.
Fast rand.
Or you here for fun? Cause if it's the latter, I'll happily end the banter. You can get on that plane and live happily ever after. But I saw
Sure, we'll get an I-16 out of this.
you haven't smiled since you stopped.
And the range is going to be between
I won't raise my voice now because I'm tired of yelling.
radius min and radius max.
So why you trying to sell it? Said it's affecting those who love you and believe in you. The ones who wanna see you do the shit that you've been meaning to. So treat this like you want it or get
Oh, you got a meeting starting. All right. Have a good day, Brooke. Yeah, and I've got a meeting in about an hour, I think.
And I'm not worried about the numbers or the press of the streams. Just prove to me that you can focus on your dreams. Or else just give it up and move on. Pack your bags and put your suit on.
Was it saying that that's borrowed? Let's use 16. What does I-16 want? Something that impulse range bounds, which should be any of those.
I just wanna love me as much as you love me.
And then in here we would use distance.
As much as you love me, as much as you love me. I know the sun gon' shine in the morning, but I just wanna love me as much as you love me. I just wanna love me as much as you love me.
Why?
As you love me. I know the sun gon' shine in
Required by this bound. Oh, I-16s. Ah, okay. I had a U there. Okay, that's good. Now we have points. You know what, let's just play around a little bit. Let's start at the beginning. So if we go with the points in a window, we should be able to do that. Let's go ahead and push the last two back onto this. So we'll have that. But to complete the circle, we'll want to come back around to the beginning. So we push onto the tail the first two. We can extend, I think. Extend. Zero to two. Non-inclusive. Oh, it wants points to be mutable. Where is it borrowed as immutable? Oh, here. So it borrows that. That should be okay. Okay. Should be a slice. And we could just push, but no, I wanted to try to do something clever. Keep trying to like figure out these little edges of Rust that I'm not certain about. I'm still learning Rust. And in this case, we have points, but here we ended up borrowing points, so we cannot. I mean, if we say that's immutable borrow, then it's going to say that this was moved. No, Okay, second bar occurs here. Interesting. Well, I know we can do that with. Just doing this is all I wanted to do, was push the first two back on top, on the tail of it. So 0 and 1 go onto the tail. And it's going to copy those at that point. I guess we could have done extend from that. So we would have generated an iterator called copy on it. And that should have broken the cycle. So if we did that, points dot extend points 0 dot dot 2 iter copied so bar is okay. All right, let's keep going forward. Keep trying those as time permits. Now, we're going to treat every other one as a control point, just for fun. So, in order to do that, we're going to move to the first one. Then we're going to quadratic Bezier 2. Then the next one with a control point. Now let's see how this works. So we end up moving to that point, but so this should be the first point. We're going to use window. Two. I want to skip the first one. So we want to start at 2, go to the end. And then for each pair, there's going to be an array or something here. PTS. And then we'll have PTS 0, PTS 1. So the first one is a control point. And the second point is the 2. Okay, that should be points, and we should be able to get rid of those. Go back around to the beginning, close it, and done. Alright, let's give that a build and try it inside of Legacy. Oh, you know what? Did I forget something? Yes. How we call it. We will add radius min, radius max. U16. Then we also have to change a couple places. Oops. Then we have our tolerance. Good. So if that's saved, that'll build. Let's go and fix up our script because we need to give it 2 more pieces. I'm interested to see how this ends up working. So I have 1020 there. Now if that compiled, which it did, we should be able to reload this. All right. OBS picked it up, good. Load the island again. Here's our scene. Uh-oh. Incorrect number of parameters. Required 4, got 2. Oh, that's our issue here. It's here. Okay, nice. We don't have to reload for that. Just back to 3D. Hit the button again. Ooh. A little funky island. And it's got some curves. But if we tighten this up, let's say that it's 15. That's a 50. If we say 15, let's move this one out of the way. Generate a new one. It's a little bit more round. Some of these curves just are so flat. Do they look like okay islands? Because let's find the prize, right? Is it because the control point is within the 2? Like it's a -1? So if we did 20, it should give us a interesting shape. Let's try again. Delete everything else. So even for 20, our control shapes are interesting. So why is it able to get those last 3 as curves, but not the other ones? Okay, which way is up? Perspective, top. Is it always the same 3 that are curved? Yeah, there's some notes. Okay, delete that one. Generate again. Same 3 are curved. In fact, yes. And our distance is correct. Everything looks like it's a decent shape. Oh, those are the last 2 that are curving back to the beginning. Because every other one of these should have been a control point. But they all look fixed. So here we have our 12. We know those are correct. We can pretty much see it. We push these two on the end, and those are the ones that it's actually curving. Is our order wrong for these? I don't think so. Why would the last two be good? Because here we start at 3 o'clock, go up to noon, right? 9, 6, and then back to 3. And then back to 3 is operating better than the others. Let's give it a test. Oh. Let's do the same thing with our test here. I'm going to say 2020. That way they're predictably along the outside. So the first line is from $9.17. That's pretty high. Why is it? Oh, because it's the we skipped the first two. Because we did the move to. So the move to goes to the first one. We skip its second point, which is odd because the second point is still there. Why is the second point still there? That's the 2 o'clock point. Did I do this twice? We didn't do anything else in there with those points. Alright. So points. I think that what we're seeing in the debug is correct. This one here is just off the top mark. So this would have been the 12 o'clock one. Oh! We're doing windows. We're not doing chunks. This should be chunks. We don't want to move across this in Windows. And if you're not familiar with what Windows does, imagine you have an array of elements. So you've got one here, whatever, whole bunch. Got an array. Now Windows will first look at whatever your n is. So if you say you want 2, this would be 2. And then it's going to go it's going to give you the next window, so your second one, right? And then it'll give you your third one, and so on. Basically, the window slides through, and you get to visit the pairs. Now, chunks is different. If you had a whole bunch of elements with chunks, whatever, ignore the little close ones there. Chunks would give you the first two, if two is your argument, and the second two, then the third two, then the fourth two, etc. So it's not sliding, so you visit every kind of like the first two and then like the second two. It's not like a chain like this, right? It's more where they're butted up against each other, so they're not overlapping. So windows versus chunks. Which is why the last one curves, because we ran out of points. Okay. All right, that should have built. Let's go ahead and load that up into Godot again. Load, resize, file system. That was a tricky one. Oh, look at that. That's more island-ish. Okay, it's got curves at least. And we can see that the tail end didn't work quite right. So other than the tail end, seems okay. I'm gonna delete that one. I want to generate one like 15 to 20 with tolerances of 0.5. Control offset. We're not using that anymore, are we? Oh, that's kind of neat. That's kind of a decent island. Okay. Another one. Neat. Okay. Tolerances are pretty good. Let's look at the wireframe on these. I think the curves are represented well enough. But why? Here. Let's see if I can get that lined up. Oh, and that's still a curve. It's coming in, isn't it? I think the problem is that some of these don't swing far enough. So if we did do a 10 to 20, let's delete those. Yeah, that's a little better. Not a huge fan of the sharp corners, though. I get it. I mean, maybe we should go with the cubic ones. That and the tail end. I don't know. What do you think of that? Let's say we did 100 by 200. Generated one. Let's get rid of the first one. It's got some decent curve to it. Ignore the bottom right quadrant. The first quadrant is very sharp, though. Might be a side effect of how we're closing the shape. So this half, though, that half looks okay, except for that sharp corner in the top right. That's not too far off from islands, though. You have curved sections, you have sharp little inlets and whatnot. Could be all right. All right, so why the funky bit at the end? Guessing it's this push back to the beginning. And that's going to give us a flat connection back to the end. So in our algorithm, we start here. We set that point. We say this is a control point. Here's a next point. Control, next. Control, next. Control, next. Control, next. Control, next. Next point. So maybe I think we're doing this slightly wrong in that we end up skipping the first two here, and I don't think we should. Hold on. I gotta call my neighbor real quick. They, I don't know what's going on. Gotta make a call.
Come to the sun with me, so I can show you something you've never seen. And both you and I shouldn't be too shy by letting go for once. Come and be free with me. Just look straight ahead, don't you stay behind, don't stay behind. Trying to make you feel right, 'cause our stars are aligned. Can I make up your mind? Follow me to the light, there is so much we can do in this life. head. Don't you stay behind, don't stay behind. Try to make you feel right, 'cause our stars are aligned. Can I make up your mind? Follow me to the light. There is so much we can do in this life. Let it sink in, this is where we begin. Oh, follow me to the light. There is so much we can do in this life. Let it sink in, this is where we begin. Oh,
All right. Yeah, very fun. Neighbors having bear issues. Not things you expect, huh? I think that I'm actually doing this slightly wrong, in that this should be 1. We should only be pushing onto it, basically the last one. Oh, typing bad joke. Hey, we got bad jokes here. Why did the school kids eat their homework? Because their teacher said it was a piece of cake. Yeah, bears, you know. Grr. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Yeah. We don't have tigers or lions. Well, I guess we do. We have cougar, mountain lion, but no tigers. There are no tigers in this part of the world. Unless, of course, somebody's got like a mansion and the mansion contains a tiger or something. I feel like those times when, as a kid, you're standing next to your mom waiting for her to get off the phone. Yeah, no, actually, I need to call my wife real quick. Tell her that not to go outside right now. Oh, your wife likes them. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're cool. Yeah, just black bears. Yeah, I mean, there's grizzlies in this part of the world, but it's just dealing with black bear. Alright, and told the wife. Yeah, you don't want to go back and hug this thing. You're in a homebrew D&D game. Oh, wonderful. You came upon a group of ice toads and started fighting them. As you were tactically retreating from a group of them, you pulled out a trucker hat, put it on one of the ice toads, and said, "Hey guys, check it out. Ice toad truckers." Ah. So I think we moved to the first point. We used the anchor point there, going to the second point, and we pushed the last one on to make it, I think, closed properly. That might work. All right. Slightly distracted, trying to get back to Twitch on my phone. There we go. Still can't believe. Oh man, the coffee is just hitting me. Okay, we're gonna go back here. Save and close. Now I'm hoping that we got the kind of the basics here ironed out. Going back to the scene. Gonna generate an island. 100 by 200, sure, why not? Ooh. That's a decent island-esque shape. I kind of want more points, though. Maybe we should have twice as many points. Get a little bit more randomness in there. How's everything? Everything's going pretty well. Everything's going alright. We're skipping the noise scanning and whatnot, and we're actually going with a couple more. The picture, that is me. That is me. I've been growing out the mustache. And if one more person comments on the ducks behind me that we're photobombing. Sorry. But yeah, there's ducks in the background. That's Ducky Duck and his crew, which I call the Quacken. So I think this is working out pretty well. We're going to increase the number of elements. Let's go with 24 elements. Yeah, this frac pi. Should probably just have pi divided by that. Yeah, I was not intending to be photobombed by the ducks. I think nobody ever really intends to be photobombed. Okay, let's get rid of that. We're going to increase the number of subdivisions. Pull that out to a number here. Fewer magic numbers. Why not be photobombed by ducks? I guess I look younger than you imagine. Aw, well, that's nice. I guess I did start programming when I was young. Alright, so we'll probably just use pi here. Pi. Is there a pi in F32? There should be. Or is it consts? Oh, there is a pi there. No? It says it doesn't know it. Standard F32 consts with an N. I think it's supposed to be there, but it's like so. Okay. And that's going to be divided by radius subdivisions. Let's rename hour because it's not really clock face anymore. Division. Okay, yeah, so we can get rid of that there. We no longer need which one the tolerance is. Oh, no, we need the tolerance, just not the offset. Okay, what else? Go to duck. Go back to COC for the time being. Oh, you had to go back to... Now I'm reading duck. You had to go back to COC for the time being, yeah? What was your tipping point? Okay, everything seems to have compiled. Alright. Sorry, just syncing up to my wife on some stuff. Alright, so if that compiled, and it looks like it did, we will reload Godot and hopefully get some more shapiness out of this. Very technical term, shapiness. Give it a second so that I can finish doing stuff in the background, closing down. Okay, we give it the resize, we look up island, and go through the dance again. Scene. Island debug. 100, 200, let's do 150. This is going to be funky, wow. That is funky. Where's the other half? Alright, that's strange. Let's do it again. Oh, diagnostics. It doesn't jump properly to the line. When you saved it, it was taking you back to the first line, so I had to continue navigating back to where. Yeah. Yeah, that could be frustrating. Always having to go back. That's losing context is just terrible. Alright, so if we did, let's say 180. We can kind of tell that there's like a funky edge to it, but I think people, they're going to be on like the plane like this. They're not going to see it from above. Right? So it'll just look like a kind of a textured island, which I think would be fine. So we come over here. I think that'd be all right. All right, something's wrong with my math here. Should be divisions times 2, shouldn't it? Because we only want half as many. Because we need to get to 2 pi. Telescope is actually really good. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. So we're going to quit to the project list. Whoa. Why is it doing that? It's so strange. See, all I really want is to be able to hit this. F. That should do it. Well, why can't I? Oh, not that. We do not need a cinematic preview for this. Alright, so we're generating an island from 180 to 200. That looks okay. It's got some flat spots on it. Let's do 150. Alright, that's okay. So once you're on it, you're not going to see the kind of funky edges, whatever. Or you're going to see the curves. It might... Yeah. Should be alright. How many triangles is this? So we got 6,000 vertices minus, let's see, 6710. Wow, there's quite a few in there. Seems okay. I think that'll basically pathfind really nicely. Let's try a small island, say 15 to 20. Itty bitty little island. Nice, okay. Some blips, some blobs. And then we could start to add interesting features to it if we wanted. Oh, come on. I want the top view. There we go. Yeah, it's okay. If we made this really, really large with a very, let's say, 200 by 200, this should be just a big round blob. Fairly round. Because the control points aren't perfectly in there. Okay. Frame. And if we increase that, let's say the tolerance was like so. Pure vertices. That still looks really good. Oh, did you see that Manning publication is hosting a mini Rust conference this afternoon? Yes, and CM Griffin is going to be in there. Do you have the link to that? Because I haven't been able to get... Oh, here it is. I guess we do have it. It is started now. Oh, nice. Copy link. Yeah, go ahead. If you have a link separate from that, go ahead and share it. Yeah, CM Griffin said that he's on at noon his time. I think he's Pacific time. Yeah, you're welcome. Well, I've got a meeting in 10. Why don't we just go ahead and raid that? I think we're actually to a really good spot here with the tessellation of these islands. I would rather not have these sharp points, and I think we might need to go to a different type of curve for this instead of the quadratic. We might need like a cubic or something, or depending on how those things connect. All right, well, let's give him a raid. Ooh, nice. Well, yeah, thank you for hanging out today, and I think we'll try to get those curves, those little sharp edges cleaned up. So I think simplifying this algorithm that we did, not using the noise and scanning, going with the angles and rotations, is actually going to work out really, really well. So until next time, bye all.